Hi, I'm Steve the Cat. I'm cute. I'm fat. I'm annoying. I'm like 6 months old. And once again, the OGGM is using me to shill his channel. Please help me. Help me by supporting the OGGM. Support him so he stops using me to shill his channel. Please help me. Hello and welcome, true believers, somewhere out there in the darkest eye, the OGGM. It is 12 noon on this lovely Monday morning. It is the 14th day of November 2022. It's about 70 degrees and sunny here at Site B, and we have some tabletop role-playing game news that does not in any way, shape, or form have anything to do with Wizards of the Coast. One of those statements was a lie. Because, yes, Wizards of the Coast is in the news again. They cannot leave well enough alone. We have some information coming out on the possibly doomed release of Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen that's supposedly coming out in December, and the Dragonlance Warrior of Krynn board game and the Dragonlance Skirmish game. There's some new images available of Takesha, aka Tiamat. There's some new pictures of what the book's going to look like, and the art is, wow. I don't know what this is, but it sure as hell ain't Dragonlance. If you remember last week, they posted a picture of a woman holding a fish, which I have no idea what that has to do with any way, shape, or form. With Dragonlance, is a woman in generic fantasy clothing holding a fish, a large catfish, and that got horrible responses from the I'm angry crowd. How dare you put that fish in a Dragonlance book? That fish is racist because it's drawn with what looks like whiskers, because, you know, catfish have whiskers, and those whiskers vaguely look like a Fu Manchu mustache, and therefore it is a racist depiction of Asians because you have this woman holding a catfish with a biologically accurate depiction of what the whiskers on a catfish looks like, because if you've ever seen a catfish, they do in fact have whiskers, and that was accused of being racist. So yes, it's coming out. We don't know anything about it other than that. We do know that it's also the Wizards of the Coast announced this new statement regarding how they're going to have a creative influence regarding any future product and any reprints, so that if anything is ever again considered to be culturally insensitive, they will now be hiring a team of cultural consultants for each product who will work together to find every possible thing that is offensive in whatever's coming next after Dragonlance. Of course, they have said that has been in existence since before Tasha's. But now, if you remember, and we went over this last week, by the wording of the letter, basically what Wizards of the Coast / D&D Beyond / Chris Perkins is saying, okay, technically we have hired these people. They've been in existence since whenever, Tasha's, but that doesn't mean that they always look at the stuff. Occasionally stuff goes to editing that they didn't look at. So that stuff that upset you in Spelljammer, well, that was not gone over by a cultural consultant. So it's not Wizards of the Coast's fault that you were offended by the Hodozi. It's the fault of the cultural consultant who didn't consult on that. Therefore, that cultural consultant is no longer with us. And it's the fault of the individual who was in charge of the cultural consultant, i.e. Ray Winnegar, who is no longer with us. In the future, for each upcoming project, we will hire a team of cultural consultants. And then they will go through everything, try and agree, come to who's ever the head of marketing at that point in time, say, this is what we got. Then that director of marketing will either okay it or say, go back to the drawing board. At some point in time, whatever is left of the product will go to print. But, as we inevitably know, somebody somewhere is going to be upset because of a fish. Really, it's a fucking fish. And they will raise up a Twitter storm, and Wizards of the Coast will respond with the following. Well, while we had cultural sensitivity consultants working on that project, that specific fish was not consulted on, and therefore it was printed. We apologize. That individual is no longer with the company and will not be working with us again. We will be reprinting the product with the offensive material removed. if you already purchased the product that has the offensive material in it, you can get the errata for free on D&D Beyond, as long as you pay $33 a month to use D&D Beyond. There's been another release date for Dungeons & Dragons Honor Amongst Thieves. It was pushed back to March 31st. Now it looks like it's going to be pushed back even further. Why? So it doesn't compete with John Wick coming out, because that's coming out on March 24th. And there's also a film coming out called a crime drama coming out called 1001. There's a sci-fi film coming out called 65. Shazam! Fury of the Gods is coming out March 17th. So Honor Amongst Thieves has been pushed back to, as of today, March 31st. But now they're projecting it could be pushed back into April. So it doesn't compete with Super Mario Brothers movie, because there's just going to be a huge line of people wanting to see the Super Mario Brothers movie, and God forbid that, Dungeons & Dragons competes with the Super Mario Brothers movie. So yes, it is still tentatively scheduled to be released March 31st/April 1st, which is a horrible day to release a movie, guys. I mean, if there's one day a year you should not, besides Christmas, Thanksgiving, and New Year's, releasing a movie midnight March 31st/April Fools is basically saying we think this movie is an April Fool's joke. And people are going to go in wanting to prank the movie because they think it's April Fool's, let's April Fool's joke this movie. Horrible. As somebody who worked in the industry for 16 years, that is like, if you gave me a list of days to never release a movie, I would put April 1st at the top. Starfinder. Hey, remember the other companies are out there who are making better stuff than Wizards of the Coast? Well, let's take a look at Pazio's #1 seller, Starfinder. They've got a new source book coming out at the end of the month called Interstellar Species. It's a whole bunch of new races and augmentations and traditions for Starfinder. Starfinder is an awesome game. It's better than Pathfinder, and it's way better than Pathfinder 2nd edition. I don't know why they didn't stick with the Starfinder format, but if you want D&D in space, ignore Spelljammer. Play this. Goodman Games has announced a release date for the Monsters and Magics of Lankhmar, a 5e source book based on Fafhrd and the Grey Mouser, and their Lankhmar series that they have been supporting through Dungeon Crawl Classic. So this will basically be converting everything they've already done for Lankhmar since they got the rights to Fafhrd and the Grey Mouser from DCC to 5e, because yes, Goodman Games can still use the 5e label despite the fact that there are rumors that Wizards of the Coast is trying to get rid of the OGL. See my previous state. Hey, remember when Cyberpunk Edgerunners came out and all these people said, wow, wouldn't it be great if there was a role-playing game that covered this? Wow, is there a way we can convert Cyberpunk Edgerunners for the Netflix show to D&D 5? Because, Cyberpunk role-playing game? That's a new thing. It's never been out before. Remember this? Remember where people are actually saying, wouldn't it be great if there was a role-playing game that captured the energy of Cyberpunk Edgerunners from Netflix? 5 seconds on Wikipedia would have told you that there is a role-playing game and that the anime on Netflix was based upon that role-playing game. Well, now in the weird world of circumentinology, Artisolian has announced the upcoming release of Cyberpunk Edgerunners Mission Kit. This is the new introductory box set for Cyberpunk Red, which will update the setting to the 2077 era of the Netflix series and the video game. It's everything you need to play Cyberpunk Red, including essential rules, lore about Night City and Edgerunners, and pre-generated characters based upon the anime. Yay! Modifius has announced a new line of print-at-home STL files for Star Trek Adventures to print your own miniatures using your 3D printer. If you happen to have a 3D printer, you can print miniatures. We've got Klingons, we've got Starfleet, we've got landing parties, we've got original figures, $30 for each kit. Kits let you look like they have about 10 STLs on it. I don't understand how 3D printing works. But for $30, you get the whatever it is to print out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to 10 figures. Somewhere amongst them will be Captain Kirk. Coolness. Pazio has announced this year's toy drive for Bundles Wonder this holiday season. Participating game stores will act as drop-off sites for charities for toys or tots. And there will probably be a goblin-themed Christmas special as well coming from Pazio for the holidays, like they have done every year since they started supporting Toys or Tots. So some good news. Okay, is there anything else going on in the game world that doesn't involve Wizards of the Coast being stupid? Anyone some gift ideas? Oh, that's a separate topic. We've already been doing that, and we'll be doing it further. Okay, so if we can ignore Wizards of the Coast stupidity, it looks like there's some good news coming from Pazio and Modifius, and people are still supporting the OGL and the OSR despite rumors to the contrary and the dwindling idiot pool saying the OSR is dead and don't support it and don't do anything that isn't official 5e. Well, guess what? If this rumor is even half true, official 5e is kind of dead, buddy. So, suck on that. Till next time, I'm the OG GM. If you appreciate this content, let me know. Thank you for helping me reach 900 subs. Now, let's skyrocket to 1,000 by supporting me, subscribing, buying my merch, and generally being awesome. Have a happy holidays. I will be back later. See ya.